Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 1, Planning a Summer Vacation in Cantonese. Hello and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 1, Planning a Summer Vacation in Cantonese. I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
Together we'll guide you through the Lower Beginner series.
That's right, so get ready and enjoy.
Yes, because it's fun to learn Cantonese.
And we're here to make your experience easy and productive. Okay, Becky, what are we learning in this lesson?
In this lesson, you'll learn how to use interrogative words to talk about where to go for holidays.
The conversation takes place in an apartment in Hong Kong.
The conversation is between two friends, Karen and Olivia.
And they're using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
暑假去邊度玩？
想去澳門，
幾時去啊？
未決定。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
暑假去邊度玩？
想去澳門，
幾時去啊？
未決定。
Now, let's hear it with the English translation.
暑假去邊度玩？
Where are you going for summer holiday?
想去澳門，
I want to go to Macau.
幾時去啊？
When are you going?
未決定。
I haven't decided. Is Macau where people in Hong Kong usually go on their holidays?
Well, Macau is about a 1-hour ferry ride from Hong Kong, so some people like to spend a day or two there for a short trip.
Where else do they go for short trips?
Sometimes they go to the outlying islands, 離島.
Oh, I've heard that Hong Kong has a lot of outlying islands.
That's right. The most popular one is called Lamma Island. Many expats prefer to stay there instead of the bustling city center. So gradually, it has evolved from a fishing village to a laid-back multicultural community.
That sounds nice. I'd like to visit there someday. Okay, now on to the vocab. Let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word is
邊度
where.
邊度邊度
Next,
玩
to play.
玩玩
Next,
幾時
when.
幾時幾時
Next,
想
to want.
想想
Next,
澳門
Macau.
澳門澳門
Next,
未
yet.
未未
And last,
決定
to decide. Decision.
決定決定
Let's take a closer look at the usage of some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
暑假
What does each word mean?
暑 means hot temperature or summer heat, and 假 means holiday.
So together they mean summer holiday. Can you repeat it, please?
暑假
Okay, what's next?
Next is 想
What can you tell us about this?
想 literally means to think. However, in most casual situations, it means to want to or to desire. For example, 想去 meaning to want to go. 想食 meaning to want to eat.
Can you repeat the word for us again? Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
想去 And here's a sentence. 我想去香港
It means I want to go to Hong Kong.
And another sentence. 我想食春卷。
I want to eat spring rolls. Well, now that you've mentioned it, I really do. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, we'll review the interrogative words we talked about in the Absolute Beginner series. You're going to see them throughout this series and in the future, so it's important to build a strong foundation in this category.
That's right.
In this dialogue, we used where in the first sentence,
Yes, and it's 邊度.
meaning where.
Do you remember which other interrogative word also used the word 邊?
Is it who?
That's right. We say 邊個. Note that it means which one as well as who. Please repeat after me. 邊度
Where.
and 邊個.
Who, or which one. Now in the third sentence of the dialogue, we hear another interrogative word, when.
幾時?
Can you break these two characters down?
Yes, 幾 means several or how much, while 時comes from 時間, which means time.
So together they mean what time or when.
That's right. 幾 is a very handy word to ask questions.
Can you give us some more examples?
Certainly. 幾多 means how many or how much, in which the second character, 多 means many.
Listeners, please check the lesson notes for a full list of interrogative words and sample sentences. And before we go, we want to remind you that you don't necessarily have to put the interrogative words at the beginning of the sentence.
It's also common to put them behind the verb. For example, 去邊度
Literally, to go where, meaning where to go.
and 見邊個
Literally, to see who, meaning whom to see. So now you should be able to pick up the keywords and questions and understand whether they are about a place, time, or people.
Attention Android, iPhone, iPad, and Kindle Fire users.
Want to learn Cantonese on the go with your mobile device?
Then download our free app, Innovative Language 101.
You get all of your favorite Cantonese Class 101 lessons inside this app.
So you can learn anywhere, anytime.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com/ILL-APP to download Innovative Language 101 for free. Well, listeners, that's all for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye bye.
暑假去邊度玩？
想去澳門，
幾時去啊？
未決定。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, and welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. This is Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 2, First Things First in Hong Kong. I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to say which action goes before another, and ask if it's necessary to do something in Cantonese.
The conversation takes place in an apartment where two friends are talking about their upcoming trip.
It's between Karen and Olivia. They're planning to travel to Macau, but they want to know if they need to apply for a visa.
The speakers are friends, so they'll be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
去澳門使唔使攞簽證？
唔知喎，
上網查下先。
食完飯先啦。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
去澳門使唔使攞簽證？
唔知喎，
上網查下先。
食完飯先啦。
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
去澳門使唔使攞簽證？
Do you need a visa for visiting Macau?
唔知喎。
I don't know.
上網查下先。
Let's check it online now.
食完飯先啦。
Let's eat first. I've heard a lot of people in Hong Kong say visa in English. Do most people know what it means?
Yes, this is actually a word that's very easy for Cantonese speakers to pronounce. Many people in Hong Kong know what it means.
I hear a lot of people talking in Chinese, but with English words in their conversation.
Right, it's especially common among the younger generation. And for 3 or 4 generations, people in Hong Kong have used a lot of English in their conversations.
And visa is one of the words they use.
Yes, and check is another word that's used a lot by people in Hong Kong. For example, they'll say, check下個 number. And as you can guess, it means check the numbers.
Okay, we'll have a lesson on commonly used English words in Cantonese later. Now, on to the vocab. Let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word is
攞
to take, to get, to obtain.
攞
Next,
簽證
visa.
簽證
Next,
護照
passport.
護照
Next,
知
to know.
知
Next,
唔知
not to know.
唔知
Next,
上網
to go online.
上網
Next,
查
to find, to search, to check.
查
And last,
先
before others in time or order.
先
Let's take a closer look at the usage of some of the words and phrases from this lesson.
The first one is 攞
How do you use this word?
攞 means to fetch, to take, or to get. When we say to get a visa, we say 攞簽證 or 攞 visa. As I mentioned earlier, the English word visa is commonly used in Cantonese conversations.
Can you give us some examples of how you use this word to mean to take, to fetch, or to get?
For example, 攞錢 to get some money, or 攞嘢食
Meaning get something to eat.
攞命 to take someone's life.
Oh, to kill someone.
Yes, 攞你命, I'll kill you.
Well, not yet. We still have a lot of lessons to teach.
The next phrase we want to talk about is 上網, to go online.
What can you tell us about this, please?
上 means up or to go up, and 網 means net.
So, go up to the net means go online here. Could you repeat it?
上網.
And there's one more word in the dialogue we can talk about here.
Right, it's 查.
It means to check, right?
Yes, 查 means to check. But note that sometimes people just use the English word. For example, to check or to search online can be either 上網查 or 上網 check.
Okay, that's very convenient. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about which action goes before another one.
Yes, and we use the word 先.
What does it mean?
先 implies to do something first, or in some cases, to do something now.
In the dialogue we heard, let's check it online now.
上網查下先.
By that, it implies that the action of checking it online takes place before anything else. Hence, check it online now.
Right, but in the last sentence of the dialogue, Olivia suggests to Karen to finish eating first before checking things online. So she said, 食完飯先啦.
Implying, let's eat first and do that later.
It's a very straightforward usage of the word seen as in first or before in the sequence of action.
So it implies that there is another action or thing in our mind, but we will deal with the first one first.
Exactly.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. 睇完戲先食飯.
Which means watch a movie before eating.
Let's break it down. 睇完戲, finish watching movie. 先, before. 食飯, eating or have a meal.
Very easy, and the structure is similar to English, so you can use this word to indicate the ranking of time or order for an action or event. Olivia, can you give us another example?
Okay. 畢咗業先結婚.
Graduate before getting married. Let's break it down. First, you need to understand the vocabulary for to graduate and to get married.
They are 畢業and 結婚respectively. So we start with the expression of the completion of the action of graduating. 畢咗業, followed by this lesson's topic word,先, then end with the second action, 結婚, to get married. Altogether, 畢咗業先結婚.
Listeners, don't forget to check the lesson notes for more details and sample sentences. And feel free to leave us a comment if you have any questions.
We're happy to help.
Listeners, do you know the reason flashcards are so popular?
It's because they work.
We've taken this time-tested studying tool and modernized with My Word Bank flashcards.
Learn vocabulary using your eyes and ears.
It's simple and powerful. Save difficult and interesting words to your personal vocabulary list called My Word Bank.
Master words in your My Word Bank by practicing with flashcards.
Words in My Word Bank come with audio, so you can learn proper pronunciation,
while you learn to recognize words by sight.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com now and try My Word Bank and flashcards today. And that's all for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye-bye!
去澳門使唔使攞簽證？
唔知喎，
上網查下先。
食完飯先啦。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello and welcome back to Cantonese Class 101.com. This is Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 3. Make sure you buy your tickets ahead of time in Hong Kong. I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about doing something in advance.
The conversation takes place at Karen's apartment.
Between Karen and Olivia.
And as usual, the speakers will be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
我哋係咪搭船去？
係啊，
係咪要買定來回飛？
最好啦。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
我哋係咪搭船去？
係啊，
係咪要買定來回飛？
最好啦。
Now, let's hear it with the English translation.
我哋係咪搭船去？
Are we taking the ferry there?
係啊，
Yes.
係咪要買定來回飛？
Should we buy return tickets in advance?
最好啦。
That'd be better. Olivia, why do people buy return tickets for Macau trips? I've heard that there are ferries every half an hour.
Well, sometimes it can be very crowded during weekends and peak hours. If you know the exact time you're taking the ferry, it's better to buy the return tickets beforehand.
Is it cheaper than buying 2 single-trip tickets?
Not really. There's no discount for buying two-way tickets, but some travel agencies offer different kinds of bonuses.
What kinds of bonuses would they offer?
It may be different depending on the season and promotions. I've gotten free lunch coupons once, and another time I got a discount on souvenirs.
That sounds pretty good. And I know that there are many places to buy tickets other than the pier. My friend got them from a website last time.
That's right. Just make sure you collect your tickets on time.
Okay, now let's move on to the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we shall see is,
係咪
is it true that? Isn't it?
係咪係咪
Next,
答
to take.
答答
Next,
船
ship, ferry, boat.
船船
Next,
買
to buy.
買買
Next,
來回
round trip.
來回來回
Next,
單程
single trip.
單程單程
Next,
飛
ticket.
飛飛
And last,
最好
best.
最好最好
Let's take a closer look at the usage of some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
係咪
Can you break it down?
係咪 is the short form for 係唔係
Which literally means yes and no.
That's right. 係 is yes and 唔係 is not yes, meaning no.
So together you use this to ask yes or no.
Right. 係唔係 yes or no.
Then how do you say the short form?
係咪
Can you repeat the word for us again? Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
係咪係咪
Can you give us an example?
Sure. 你係咪女仔
You're asking me whether I'm a girl? Well, the answer is yes.
Okay. Our next word is 搭
What can you tell us about this word?
搭 is a verb. It means to take, as in taking some type of transportation.
Taking a bus is
搭巴士
taking a taxi.
搭的士
So this is the verb for taking any kind of transportation, including an airplane, boat, or train.
Yes, this will apply in Cantonese. Once you learn the words for different types of transportation, you can try to use this.
Can you repeat that, please?
搭巴士 means to take a bus. 搭的士 means to take a taxi.
In this lesson, we've talked about return tickets. How do you say that?
來回 is two-way or literally come and return.
Which word means come and which word means return?
來 is to come and 回 is to return.
How about tickets? How do you say return tickets?
來回飛 In case you forgot, 飛 means ticket.
Can you please repeat come and return once more?
來回
Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about doing something in advance.
In Cantonese, we use the word 訂 to do that. In the dialogue, we heard 買定飛
which means to buy tickets in advance.
Yes, 買定 to buy in advance.
Do you add this word in advance after or in front of the verb?
We add 定 after the verb.
Can you give us more examples, please?
Okay, for instance, the verb to eat, 食. We say 食定 to eat in advance.
Right, I see some people eat before going to a ball, for example.
Yes, 食定飯 means eating a meal in advance.
How about preparing a meal in advance? How do you say that?
We use 煮. 煮 is to cook. 煮定飯 means to cook a meal in advance.
I see that we're putting this word after the verb as well.
Right, this is another simple and handy word to add after a verb.
Somehow I remember learning about this word before, but it had a different meaning.
Well remembered. In our Absolute Beginner series lesson, we talk about 定, meaning or when it's placed between two choices. For example, A 定 B.
A or B?
That's right. For more examples on how to distinguish different meanings of the word 定, please check out the lesson notes.
Listeners, want to get the newest Cantonese lessons for free?
All new Cantonese Class 101.com lessons are free for 3 weeks.
And since we publish new lessons every single week,
You have 3 weeks worth of free lessons at any given time.
go to CantoneseClass101.com, click Browse Lessons, and then click Newest Lessons to get your free lessons today.
And that's all for this lesson. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
下次見!
"我哋係咪搭船去？
係啊，
係咪要買定來回飛？
最好啦。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, and welcome back to Cantonese Class 101.com. This is Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 4. Don't get lost in the crowd in Hong Kong. I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about continuous actions.
The conversation takes place on a busy street.
It's between two friends, Karen and Olivia.
As usual, they're using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
小心啊，好多人，
我跟住你行啦。
拖住我啦。
哦，
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
小心啊，好多人，
我跟住你行啦。
拖住我啦。
哦，
Now, let's hear it with the English translation.
小心啊，好多人，
Be careful, it's very crowded.
我跟住你行啦。
I'll be following you.
拖住我啦。
Hold my hand.
哦，
Okay. Is it always very crowded in Hong Kong?
Yes, there are lots of tourists and the local people like to go out a lot too.
Where are the most crowded areas? We want the listeners to be prepared on their next visit.
Well, many people like to go to Causeway Bay, Tsim Sha Tsui, or Mong Kok because there are lots of shopping malls and restaurants in those areas.
What are these places called in Cantonese?
Causeway Bay is Thong Lo Wan.
That's on Hong Kong Island, isn't it?
Right. And then there are Tsim Sha Tsui, which is Tsim Sha Tsui, and Mong Kok, which is Wong Kok. These are on the Kowloon Peninsula.
There are many electronic stores in Mong Kok, right?
That's right. Mong Kok is a very popular place for buying and selling computers and cell phones.
Sounds like it's worth a visit, listeners. Okay, now let's move on to the vocab. The first word we shall see is
小心,
be careful.
小心,小心,
Next,
好多,
many, much.
好多, 好多,
Next,
人,
person, people.
人, 人,
Next,
跟,
to follow.
跟, 跟,
Next,
行,
to walk.
行, 行,
Next,
拖,
to mop, to drag, to hold.
拖, 拖,
Next,
哦,
okay.
哦, 哦,
And last,
拉,
Common final particle used in requests and imperatives.
啦啦
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
First up is 小心
Which means be careful. Can you break it down for us, please?
Sure. 小 means small or little, and 心 means heart. So altogether we have small heart, and the implied meaning is to pay attention to something.
I see. This is the reason for the definitions be careful or pay attention, right?
That's right.
Can you repeat it, please?
Sure. 小心
Great. What's next?
The next word is 拖. When we're talking about an inanimate object, 拖 implies the action of dragging or pulling. For example, 拖車.
A tow truck or to tow a vehicle.
But when this verb is associated with someone, it implies the action of holding hands, which is what we had in the conversation.
Can you repeat that word? Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
拖.
Excellent. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you learn how to use a very common verb complement, 住. And of course, it always follows the verb.
Where was it in the conversation?
It appears as 跟住 in the second sentence, 我跟住你行啦, and 拖住 in the third sentence, 拖住我啦.
How does the verb complement function in these two sentences?
住 marks a static extended state. For example, 跟住, meaning to be following, implies the action of following in the continuous sense, and that action occurs for a relatively long duration.
So can we say that it's a durative marker?
In a sense, yes. Let me give you another example using 拖住 in the conversation, which means to be holding someone's hand. 過馬路時拖住我 means hold my hand when we're crossing the road.
Here we have the action of holding hands, but note that it's not a dynamic action, but a static condition that lasts for the whole time they're crossing the road. Can you give us some more examples, Olivia?
Of course, let's use the verb to watch, which is 睇. Add the verb complement 住 to get 睇住.
Which means to watch over or to be watching.
我睇住佢跌落地.
I watched him fall. Here the action of watching is continuous yet static for the whole time span of him falling.
Exactly. Here's another one. 指 to point, which becomes 指住 to be pointing at. A simple sentence would be 佢指住我.
Meaning he or she is pointing at me.
And to make it a bit more complex, 佢指住我嚟鬧.
He or she is pointing at me while scolding me.
We've put more examples in the lesson notes, so check them out.
And don't worry if you can't fully understand the usage of verb complements. We'll talk about them more in future lessons.
Want to master even more Cantonese? Get instant access to all of our lessons.
With a basic or premium subscription, you get our entire library of audio and video lessons.
Listen or watch at the comfort of your computer.
Or stream them directly from your phone or mobile device and learn on the go.
Lessons are organized by learning level, so you can go one level at a time.
Or skip around to different levels. It's up to you.
Instantly access them all right now at CantoneseClass101.com.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you in the next lesson.
下次見.小心啊，好多人。
我跟住你行啦。
拖住我啦。
哦。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, and welcome back to Cantonese Class 101.com. This is Lower Beginner, Season 1, Lesson 5. Where in Hong Kong should we go for lunch? I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about making choices
The conversation takes place on the street.
between two friends, Karen and Olivia.
And as usual, they're using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
不如去大家樂食嘢，
是但啦，
定係食雲吞麵？
你揀啦。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
不如去大家樂食嘢，
是但啦，
定係食雲吞麵？
你揀啦。
Now, let's hear it with the English translation.
不如去大家樂食嘢，
How about we go eat at Café do Corral?
是但啦，
Anything is fine.
定係食雲吞麵？
Or should we eat wonton noodles?
你揀啦。
You choose. They're talking about a fast food restaurant in the dialogue, right?
Yes, most people go to fast food restaurants or cafes for lunch and dinner. Some people in Hong Kong eat out almost every day.
Olivia, is it affordable to eat out all the time?
Well, there's a big difference in price between eating at a cafe or a fancy restaurant, so it really depends where you go.
How much of a price difference can you expect?
For example, a dish of fried rice, 炒飯, can cost 5 times the price in a famous restaurant.
I've heard that there are other charges too.
Yes, there are small dishes of spices and appetizers on the tables in some restaurants for an extra charge. In some places, they don't give you an option. It's just a mandatory cost.
So remember to pay attention to the bill, listeners.
In some Chinese restaurants, there are other charges too. For instance, charge for tea per person and 10% service charge on top of the total. In some fancy restaurants, there's even a 15% service charge.
Oh wow, I should just go to the cafes and wonton noodle restaurants if I want to eat out.
I think those places are good if you're eating out every day and need to keep it under budget.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we shall see is,
不如
how about, let's, why don't we?
不如不如
Next,
大家樂
Café de Corral.
大家樂大家樂
Next,
食嘢
to eat something.
食嘢食嘢
Next,
是但
anything goes. As one pleases, whatever.
是但是但
Next,
大快活
Fairwood, popular fast food restaurant chain in Hong Kong.
大快活大快活
Next,
雲吞麵
wonton noodles.
雲吞麵雲吞麵
And last,
揀位
to select seats.
揀位揀位
Let's take a closer look at the usage of some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
是但
What does each word mean?
是 means yes and 但 means but. When you put them together, they actually means yes or no, implying no preference in this case.
Can you repeat this, please?
是但
Next, let's talk about the other response in the dialogue, where Olivia had no preference.
By saying 你揀啦, Olivia is letting Karen choose. 揀 means to choose.
Can you repeat the word again? Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
揀
Okay, what can we choose to do?
揀食乜 means choose what to eat. 揀邊個 choose which one. 揀邊度 choose which place.
Excellent. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn some different ways to say or in Cantonese.
In this lesson, we learned that 定係 can be translated as or.
But if you've got a good memory, you should know that we taught you the other or in the Absolute Beginner series lessons.
Ah, yes, and it's 定 as in A 定 B.
Meaning A or B.
Right, let's recap a few sample sentences for 定. 白色定紅色
This means white or red.
電影定話劇
Meaning a movie or a play.
And since 定係 is often interchangeable with 定, the sample sentences will become 白色定係紅色
Which also means white or red.
Right, but there's another usage of 定係. It can be used to follow up on a previously mentioned decision.
Can you give us some examples?
Okay, imagine we're going to Macau and you ask, 我哋搭船定係搭直升機去澳門? And the other person thinks of another option for transportation. So he says, 定係搭飛機?
Are we taking the ferry or the helicopter to Macau? Or an airplane? So is this like a suggestion?
It is. Notice how 定係 can be placed between two or more options and can also be placed at the very beginning of a question sentence.
I get it now. So are there other terms that also mean or?
Yes, for instance, 抑或, 或者, and 又或者.
Can you explain how each one is used or how they differ from each other?
Sure. 抑或 is actually very similar to 定係. For example, 白色抑或紅色
Which means white or red. Okay, and the other two?
或者 and 又或者 are mostly used in statements rather than questions. So that's the biggest difference between those and 定or 定係.
Can you give us an example?
For 或者, it's very straightforward. 白色或者紅色.
Meaning white or red.
But for 又或者, it has to follow 或者 since 又 means again. For example, 白色或者紅色, 又或者藍色.
White or red or blue. So it's providing additional information or choices.
Exactly.
Listeners, want to easily understand Cantonese conversations?
We'll let you in on a secret.
Use line-by-line audio.
With this tool, you can listen to lesson conversations line by line.
And you can listen again and again until you easily understand natural Cantonese.
With a click of a button, listen to each line of the conversation.
And rapidly understand natural Cantonese with this powerful tool.
Find this feature on the lesson page in the Lesson Materials section at CantoneseClass101.com. Well, that's it for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!
Bye-bye!
不如去大家樂食嘢，
是但啦，
定係食雲吞麵？
你揀啦。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, and welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. This is Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 6. What's the most famous dish at this Cantonese restaurant? I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask for recommendations
The conversation takes place at a Hong Kong restaurant.
between a waiter and a customer.
And as usual, the speakers will be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
呢度至好食係乜？
我哋啲叉燒至出名，
咁我要一碟叉燒啦。
多謝晒。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
呢度至好食係乜？
我哋啲叉燒至出名。
咁我要一碟叉燒啦。
多謝晒。
Now, let's hear it with the English translation.
呢度至好食係乜？
What is the best food here?
我哋啲叉燒至出名。
Our barbecued pork is the most famous here.
咁我要一碟叉燒啦。
Then I'll have 1 plate of barbecued pork.
多謝晒。
Thank you very much. Olivia, do you usually ask for recommendations before you order at a restaurant?
Yes, if it's a restaurant I've never been to, I will ask what their most famous dish is. And for restaurants that I've been to, I'll ask what is fresh and their special of the day.
Do they usually give good suggestions?
Well, I've had good and bad experiences.
What were the good experiences?
I like to order something they recommend because often the ingredients seem to be fresh. Sometimes the daily special is a good deal and the food comes fast.
How about a bad experience?
There were occasions where I visited a famous restaurants and ordered their most famous dish, but it was very disappointing and it was very expensive too.
That's a shame. I usually go online and look for food reviews beforehand.
That's a good idea.
Okay, now let's move on to the vocab. The first word we shall see is
呢度
here.
呢度呢度
Next,
出名
famous.
出名出名
Next,
碟
plate, plate of.
碟碟
Next,
叉燒
barbecued pork.
叉燒叉燒
Next,
咁
so, then.
咁咁
Next,
侍應
waiter, waitress.
侍應侍應
Next,
客人
customer, client.
客人客人
And last,
多謝晒
thank you very much.
多謝晒多謝晒
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
出名
What can you tell us about this?
出 normally means out, as in 出入 out and in.
In English, we usually say in and out, and in Cantonese, it's the other way around.
Yes, in this phrase, 出 implies coming out. 名 is name. When you put them together, it implies the idea that the name is coming out, meaning famous. 出名
Being famous.
Yes, you're famous. 你好出名
Really? I'm famous? Great, thank you. Can you repeat that?
出名出名
Famous.
The next word we're learning in this lesson is 碟
What does that mean?
碟 by itself means plate or dish, but it's also the classifier. You can use it as a plate of or a dish of something. For example, a dish of fried rice, 一碟炒飯
I see. How do you say a dish of fish, then?
一碟魚
A dish of chicken?
一碟雞
That seems easy. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to use the superlative state of a description.
In Cantonese, we use 字 for the superlative state.
Can you repeat the phrases from the dialogue?
There are two of them, 至好食 and 至出名.
The most delicious and the most famous.
Right, in which 至 means the most and is always followed by an adjective like 好食 delicious, yummy, and 出名 famous.
I see. So if I know the adjective expensive, now I know how to say the most expensive.
Exactly. It's 至貴.
How about the most beautiful?
Beautiful is 靚, so the most beautiful is 至靚.
Oh, thank you, Olivia. That's so nice of you. So for some adjectives in English, we'll add est at the end of the word to imply the superlative degree. How do you do that in Cantonese?
It's easy in Cantonese. You just add 至 before the adjectives.
What about for cheapest?
Since cheap is 平, the cheapest will be 至平.
And how about the biggest?
Big is 大, so the biggest is 至大.
How about for the most, as in I have the most?
多 means many, so 至多 is literally the most many, and it means the most. 至多.
Olivia, is this the only word you use for the superlative degree?
There's another word that's very similar to 至, and we've talked about it previously in our Absolute Beginner series lesson.
Can you remind us what it is?
It's 最.
So it also means the most?
Yes, 最 is used in spoken and written forms for the most.
And it's also used before adjectives?
Yes, you can apply this in the same way as 至.
Can you give some examples, please?
最大 means biggest, and 最多 means the most.
So for the sentences in our dialogue, can you use this word?
Yes, 至好食, 最好食.
How about the most famous dish is barbecued pork?
叉燒至出名, 叉燒最出名.
Which one do you like better?
Either one is fine in conversation, but 至 is more colloquial and can't be used in writing, so I think it's more unique to Cantonese.
I see, so you'd sound more like a native.
Exactly.
What's one of the best ways to stay motivated while learning Cantonese?
It's watching your progress grow and knowing how much you've learned.
Did you know that you could do that at CantoneseClass101.com? You can track your Cantonese progress with the dashboard.
So when you complete this lesson, mark it as finished.
You'll see the checkbox above the lesson player on the lesson page.
Click on the Mark Lesson Complete checkbox and watch your progress grow at CantoneseClass101.com.
Well, listeners, that's all for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye-bye.
呢度至好食係乜？
我哋啲叉燒至出名，
咁我要一碟叉燒啦。
多謝晒。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, and welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. This is Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 7. This Cantonese dish has an unusual name. I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask what something means
The conversation takes place at a Hong Kong restaurant.
between a waiter and a customer.
And as usual, the speakers will be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
嗰碟係乜嘢？
老少平安，
即係乜啊？
即係魚肉蒸豆腐。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
嗰碟係乜嘢？
老少平安，
即係乜啊？
即係魚肉蒸豆腐。
Now, let's hear it with the English translation.
嗰碟係乜嘢？
What is that dish?
老少平安，
Everyone in peace.
即係乜啊？
What is that exactly?
即係魚肉蒸豆腐。
That is steamed tofu with minced fish. And now it's time to talk about one of my favorite topics in Cantonese culture, food.
Yes, Cantonese dishes are very tasty.
Don't be ashamed to ask about the ingredients or preparation because sometimes a dish may have a funny or confusing name.
But if you're in an adventurous mood, trying new things in Hong Kong is a lot of fun, so go for it.
So what should you say if the food is delicious?
You say 好好味, which literally means very good taste.
How about if you come across something you would never dare to try? In my case, that would be chicken feet.
It's not a problem, just say no thanks, 唔使啦, 唔該.
Thanks. Okay, now let's move on to the vocab. The first word we shall see is
碟
plate. Plate of.
碟
Next,
乜嘢
what.
乜嘢乜嘢
Next,
老少
everyone.
老少老少
Next,
平安
peaceful. In peace.
平安平安
Next,
即係
that is, that means, in conclusion.
即係即係
Next,
魚肉
fish.
魚肉魚肉
Next,
豆腐
tofu.
豆腐豆腐
And last,
蒸
to steam.
蒸蒸
Let's take a closer look at the usage of some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
First is 老少.
What can you tell us about this?
It's an expression that's very close to the English young and old because it's composed of the word 老, which means old, and 少, which means young.
Like in English, it's used to mean everybody or every person. Will you repeat it again for our listeners?
老少.
Great. What's next?
Next is 平安.
What does each word mean?
平 means flat or smooth, while an means tranquil and safe.
So together we have peaceful or in peace. Can you repeat the word again? Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
平安.
Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to ask what something means.
In Cantonese, we say 即係乜啊?
In most cases, it can be translated as, what does it mean? Or, what is it exactly?
When you want to ask for a definition or some details about an object, you can ask the question 即係乜啊? in Cantonese.
We already learned the word for what.
As a reminder, is 乜, and 即係 means that is to say or that means.
How about the last character?
Is a common final particle used in neutral questions. So altogether, 即係乜啊?
Means, what does it mean?
Listeners, repeat after me. 即係乜啊?
You can use this phrase to ask about definitions and explanations, or, like in the dialogue, the ingredients of a dish.
So when you're faced with a new word or term and you don't know what it means, you would want to ask,
what does A mean?
Yes, like this. 老少平安，即係乜啊?
What does everyone in peace mean?
Yes, since you don't know the word's meaning, you ask about it like this.
Can you give us another example, please, Olivia?
Sure. 炒麵即係乜啊?
This is, what does chow mein mean?
Right, and that's another typical Cantonese food.
And now let's hear the set phrase again. Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
Something, 即係乜啊?
What does something mean?
Right, and to answer the question, you can use 即係 before the answer.
Which is, it means that.
For example, the question 老少平安即係乜啊? can be answered with 即係魚肉蒸豆腐.
So we have, what does everyone in peace mean? And the answer, It means steamed tofu with minced fish.
Here's another example. I am 即係乜啊? And the answer, I am 即係即時通訊.
What does I am mean? And the answer, I am means instant messaging. Listeners, for more examples, please check the lesson notes.
Yes, because practice makes perfect.
Listeners, do you know the powerful secret behind rapid progress?
Using the entire system.
Lesson notes are an important part of this system.
They include a transcript and translation of the conversation,
Key lesson vocabulary.
and detailed grammar explanations.
Lesson notes accompany every audio or video lesson.
Use them on the site or mobile device, or print them out.
Using the lesson notes with audio and video media will rapidly increase your learning speed.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com and download the lesson notes for this lesson right now. And that's all for this lesson. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye-bye.
嗰碟係乜嘢？
老少平安，
即係乜啊？
即係魚肉蒸豆腐。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, and welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. This is Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 8. Was that Cantonese meal worth the price tag? I'm Becky.
Hello, and I'm Olivia.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to comment on a meal.
This conversation takes place in a restaurant in Hong Kong.
The conversation is between two friends, Karen and Olivia.
As usual, they're using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
唔該，埋單。
呢一餐咁貴嘅，
算啦，都幾好味啊。
麻麻地啫。
咁下次去第二間。
Let's hear the conversation one time, slowly.
唔該，埋單。
呢一餐咁貴嘅，
算啦，都幾好味啊。
麻麻地啫。
咁下次去第二間。
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
唔該，埋單。
Excuse me, check please.
呢一餐咁貴嘅，
How come this meal is so expensive?
算啦，都幾好味啊。
Never mind, it's quite tasty.
麻麻地啫。
I think it's so-so.
咁下次去第二間。
Then next time we'll go to another one. When a man and a woman go out for dinner in Hong Kong, do the men always have to pay for the bill?
I guess it depends on their relationship, whether they're colleagues, dating, married, or close friends.
I think most colleagues will pay for their own meals if it's not a special occasion.
Yes, I think so too. However, if they are dating, especially when they've just started to date, the man is usually expected to pay for their meals.
How about if the lady is making more money than the man?
Well, I guess they won't discuss that when they start dating unless it's suggested by the lady.
So the man may choose a restaurant that he can't afford.
That's true, smart guy.
Would it be the same after they officially become a couple?
Then it depends on the man's luck, whether the lady minds paying for her own meal or even paying for him.
I see. Okay, now let's move on to the vocab. The first word we shall see is
埋單
to pay the bill.
埋單埋單
Next,
貴
expensive.
貴貴
Next,
好食
delicious, tasty.
好食好食
Next,
麻麻地
a little, sort of, so-so.
麻麻地麻麻地
Next,
算啦
forget it, never mind, leave it.
算啦算啦
Next,
好辣
very spicy.
好辣好辣
Next,
好鹹
very salty.
好鹹好鹹
And last,
平
cheap.
平平
Let's take a closer look at the usage of some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
First up is 埋單
What does each word mean?
埋 means to cover or to bury, and 單 means bill.
So together they mean to settle the bill. That makes sense. Can you repeat it again for our listeners?
Sure, 埋單
Great. What's next?
Next is 好
What can you tell us about this?
好 literally means good. When it's used before an adjective, it becomes very good or very much.
I see. So how do you say very tasty?
好食 So 好好食 is literally very, very good taste.
Would you give us an example where it means very much?
Sure, sometimes we say 好鹹 for very salty, 好辣 for very spicy, and 好貴 for very expensive.
Can you repeat these words for us? Listeners, repeat after Olivia.
好好食好好食
These mean good taste or delicious.
好鹹
Very salty.
好辣
Very spicy.
好貴
Very expensive. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to use an ordinal word to form a phrase meaning the other.
Yes, 第二 normally means the second, as in 第一 first, 第二 second, 第三 third. However, we can also use 第二 in front of a classifier to mean the other.
Interesting. Let's try it out.
Let's start with something we heard earlier. 第二間 It was referring to another restaurant in the dialogue. Note that 間 is the classifier for restaurants or stores.
How about another person? How do you say that?
個 is the classifier for person and person is 人. So the whole phrase for another person is 第二個人.
Okay, can you give us more examples with the classifiers that we've learned from the previous lessons?
Sure, we've learned 件, which is the classifier for clothing. So we can say 第二件 for another piece.
How do you say another piece of clothing?
第二件衫
If I wanted to say another pair of shoes, how would I say another pair?
Well, pair is 對, so another pair is 第二對,
So another pair of shoes is?
第二對鞋.
Okay, I see the pattern now.
Yes, add the classifier after 第二, then you'll get 第二間, 第二個, 第二件, 第二對.
So now you should be able to pick up the key words when people mean the other or another.
Yes, 第二.
Listeners, try to apply this to the words you've learned before.
It's good practice.
Listeners, ever have any language or lesson-related questions?
Or maybe you have some feedback for us?
Leave us a comment or ask a question on the lessons page.
It's super simple. Go to CantoneseClass101.com.
Scroll down to the comments and enter your comment and name.
And that's it.
Commenting is a great way to practice writing and reading in Cantonese.
It helps you learn faster.
And it helps us get better through your feedback.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com and comment now. Well, that's all for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in another lesson. Bye!
拜拜，第二堂見。唔該，埋單。
呢一餐咁貴嘅，
算啦，都幾好味啊。
麻麻地啫。
咁下次去第二間。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese, Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 9. How popular is fast food in Hong Kong? Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 9. How popular is fast food in Hong Kong? I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
From this lesson, Teddy and I will be hosting the series after Becky and Olivia. In this lesson, you'll learn how to place an order at a fast food restaurant.
And of course, this conversation takes place at a fast food restaurant in Hong Kong.
Between a staff and a customer.
And as usual, the speakers will be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
唔該，一個魚柳包，
係
要多個大薯條。
喺度食定拎走？
Let's hear the conversation one time slowly.
唔該，一個魚柳包，
係
要多個大薯條。
喺度食定拎走？
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
唔該，一個魚柳包，
A fish fillet burger, please.
係
Certainly.
要多個大薯條。
And one more large fries.
喺度食定拎走？
For here or to go? Are there a lot of Western-style fast food restaurants in Hong Kong? Which ones are the most famous?
I'd say McDonald's and KFC.
Are they all franchised in Hong Kong?
Yes, it all started back in the 70s when KFC started establishing its franchised operations in Hong Kong. But back then, not many people had heard about franchising. So not long after that, all the KFC outlets closed down.
But eventually, KFC re-entered Hong Kong a few years later, right?
Yes, it's now operated by an area developer. For McDonald's, it was more successful. The first of its stores opened in January 1975, and it has been a popular option for Hong Kong people since then.
Interesting. Okay, now let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we shall see is
魚柳包，
fish fillet burger.
魚柳包，魚柳包，
Next,
薯條，
French fries.
薯條，薯條，
Next,
喺度，
here.
喺度，喺度，
Next,
拎走，
takeaway.
拎走，拎走，
Next,
職員，
staff.
職員，職員，
Next,
客人，
customer, client.
客人，客人，
Next,
唔該，
excuse me, please, thank you.
唔該，唔該，
And last,
要，
to want, to need.
要，要。
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
魚柳包.
And what can you tell us about this?
魚 is fish and 柳 is meat in strips. So 魚柳 is fish fillet.
In Cantonese, is a strip of meat the same as a fillet?
For many types of meat and fish, yes.
Could you give us some examples?
For beef, 牛, we say 牛柳.
Beef fillet,
Yes, for chicken, 雞, we say 雞柳.
chicken fillet,
Okay, 魚柳, 牛柳, 雞柳.
and in McDonald's, they sell fish fillet in a bun.
That's right. That's why we add the word bun after it. In Cantonese, it's 包, so altogether, 魚柳包.
Great! Can you repeat that for our listeners, please?
魚柳包. Fish is 魚, fish fillet is 魚柳, bun is 包, 魚柳包.
What's next?
Next is 拎走.
What does each word mean?
拎 means to take or to grab, and 走 means to walk, implying away. When we say 拎走, we mean take away.
Can you repeat the words again? Listeners, please repeat after Teddy.
拎走. 拎走.
Great! Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how a or one is hidden in the phrase in Cantonese.
Yes, in the dialogue, we say 多個, which actually implies 多一個. 個 is the classifier, and 一個 means one piece, so 多一個 means one more piece.
In most cases, the a or one is said so quickly that eventually people skip the word, right?
Yes, so instead of 多一個, we often say 多個,
So how would you say to want one more piece?
要多個,
How about if we want one more cup?
要多杯, in which 杯 is the classifier for cups or glasses.
So how do we say, I want one more cup of coffee?
我要多杯咖啡.
What about if you want 2 or 3 more?
Then we can't skip the number word in between. Only one can be skipped. So for 2, 3 or 4 more, we will say 多兩個, 多三個, 多四個, etc.
Does this apply to other verbs other than to want?
Yes, we can apply this to many verbs. For example, to eat, 食. We say 食多個, to eat one more.
Can you give us an example?
Sure, 食多個魚柳包.
Eat one more fish fillet.
Yes, and do you know when I say 買多個魚柳包, what does it mean?
Buy one more fish fillet.
That's right. So only the verbs are different. 要多個, 食多個, 買多個.
And we can imply that we're talking about one or more piece.
However, skipping the word one happens in many other cases too, not only after more.
Can you give us some examples?
For example, eat a bun, 食一個包, is the same as 食個包. Buy a piece of clothing, 買一件衫 is the same as 買件衫.
I've noticed that people often skip the word a or one in Cantonese conversation.
Right, when we don't mention the number, we usually mean one.
And it makes the sentence shorter.
However, when we want to stress that there is only one, we will add 一 in the sentence still.
Right, it makes sense. When we want to emphasize one, we say it loud and clear.
Attention Android, iPhone, iPad, and Kindle Fire users.
Want to learn Cantonese on the go with your mobile device?
Then download our free app, Innovative Language 101.
You get all of your favorite Cantonese Class 101 lessons inside this app.
So you can learn anywhere, anytime.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com/ILL-APP to download Innovative Language 101 for free.
Well, that's all for this lesson. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
下一堂見 or 下堂見. "唔該，一個魚柳包，
係
要多個大薯條。
喺度食定拎走？
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese, Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 10. A Scary Situation in Hong Kong. Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 10. A Scary Situation in Hong Kong. I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to command others not to do something.
This conversation takes place in a dark alley,
Between a robber and a victim.
and the speakers will be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
"咪喐，打劫，
救命啊！
咪嘈，
Let's hear the conversation one time slowly.
咪喐，打劫，
救命啊！
咪嘈，想死啊！咪喐，打劫，
救命啊！
咪嘈。"
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
咪喐，打劫，
Don't move, it's a robbery.
救命啊！
Help!
咪嘈，
Don't make any noise. Have you ever been robbed before?
No, but I've been pickpocketed.
Where did it happen?
I was at the book expo, and I didn't notice until I left.
So is this quite common in Hong Kong?
It's always very busy on the street, and sometimes people stand very close to each other in the expo or lining up to get on a bus.
So you should be careful with your wallet when you're out. So did you report it to the police?
No, I didn't, because I didn't lose my Hong Kong ID card, but I lost my credit cards.
That's too bad. Okay, now on to the vocab. The first word we shall see is
買
don't.
買
Next,
喐
to move.
喐
Next,
打劫
robbery. To rob.
打劫
Next,
救命
help.
救命
Next,
嘈
noisy. To make noise.
嘈
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
嘈
What can you tell us about this?
嘈 means noisy as an adjective, or to make noise as a verb.
Can you give us an example of each?
Sure, 好嘈 means very noisy. It's a common phrase in which 嘈 is an adjective, while 咪嘈, which we heard in the dialogue, uses its verb form and means don't make any noise or shut up.
I see. What's our next key phrase?
This one is an important phrase everyone should learn. It will save your life. It's 救命.
It means help. But what does each word mean?
救 means to save, and 命 means life. 救命 together means to save life. When you call 救命啊 out loud, people will know that you are in danger or you need help.
Oh, I have to remember this. It's a very useful phrase. Listeners, repeat after Teddy.
救命
Help. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to say don't.
It's very easy. Just put my in front of the verb.
Can you give some examples using the verbs we've learned before?
Sure, we've learned 食 to eat, so don't eat in Cantonese is 咪食. I always hear people saying 咪食咁多. Do you know what it means?
Let me guess. Don't eat so much. Is that right?
Bingo! You're very smart.
So let's try with some other verbs now. How do we say don't play?
玩 is to play, so don't play is 咪玩.
How about don't go?
走 means to go or to run, so 咪走 means don't go, or when the police are chasing a criminal. They say 咪走 as in freeze.
I see. So in this case, it literally means don't run.
Right. In our dialogue, the robber gave commands to the victim twice,
Don't move and don't make any noise.
which are 咪喐 and 咪嘈 respectively.
Do these two phrases only apply to this case? As in, are they mostly used by criminals?
Not at all. We use these phrases normally. For instance, when you are trying to take a photo and you say 咪喐 to ask the person not to move so you can take a good photo.
Or when students are too noisy in a classroom?
Then you can say 咪嘈 to ask them to keep quiet.
Okay, I get it now. Can you say the phrases again? Listeners, repeat after Teddy.
咪喐
Don't move.
咪嘈
Don't make any noise, or shut up.
Listeners, do you know the reason flashcards are so popular?
It's because they work.
We've taken this time-tested studying tool and modernized with My Word Bank flashcards.
Learn vocabulary using your eyes and ears.
It's simple and powerful. Save difficult and interesting words to your personal vocabulary list called My Word Bank.
Master words in your My Word Bank by practicing with flashcards,
Words in My Word Bank come with audio, so you can learn proper pronunciation.
while you learn to recognize words by sight.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com now and try My Word Bank and flashcards today.
Okay, listeners, that's all for this lesson. Remember to check the lesson notes for more details and sample sentences. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.
咪喐，打劫，
救命啊！
咪嘈，想死啊！
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese Lower Beginner, Season 1, Lesson 11. Reporting a Crime in Cantonese. Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 11. Reporting a Crime in Cantonese. I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to make a passive sentence.
The dialogue takes place on the street.
The conversation is between the victim from last lesson and a stranger.
They'll be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
可唔可以幫我報警？
乜事啊？
我俾人打劫啊！
好，我打999啦。
Let's hear the conversation one time slowly.
可唔可以幫我報警？
乜事啊？
我俾人打劫啊！
好，我打999啦。
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
可唔可以幫我報警？
Could you please call the police for me?
乜事啊？
What happened?
我俾人打劫啊！
I was robbed.
好，我打999啦。
Okay, I'll call 999. I remember you mentioned that you were pickpocketed too.
Yes, more than once.
Did you report it to the police?
Well, I didn't.
Why's that?
I only lost some money, and I blamed myself for being so careless. I was lucky that I didn't lose my Hong Kong ID card.
Would it be very hard to find the lost items in Hong Kong?
It's pretty hard if it's pickpocketing. If it's only a case of loss, say if you've dropped your wallet on the street, it's actually much easier to find. My nephew reported losing his wallet to the police, and the wallet was actually handed in at another police station before that.
So he was happy that the person who found it was so honest.
Yes, but we are not always so lucky.
Okay, now on to the vocab. The first word we shall see is
可唔可以?
can, someone. Could you please?
可唔可以? 可唔可以?
Next,
幫
to help.
幫
Next,
報警
to call the police.
報警
Next,
乜事
what happened?
乜事
Next,
打劫
robbery, to rob.
打劫
Next,
白車
ambulance, literally white car.
白車
Next,
消防處
fire department.
消防處
And last,
三條狗
999.
三條狗
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
可唔可以
What can you tell us about this?
可以 means to be able to, may, or can. Here's an example. 你可以食 you can eat, or you may eat something. So in order to change 可以 into a question, we say 可唔可以?
Literally, can or cannot. Then you apply this to eat.
Right, let's take the previous example and change it to a question. 你可唔可以食 in Cantonese?
Literally, you can or cannot eat? Okay, that's not so hard. So in the dialogue, we heard the victim asking someone to call the police.
To call the police is 報警. So, 可唔可以報警 is a way to request other to call the police, meaning, can you call the police?
How about, can you help me?
你可唔可以幫我?
So we can spot the meaning of the first sentence in the dialogue. Can you help me by calling the police?
Yes. 可唔可以幫我報警?
Okay, listeners, let's practice the phrase. Repeat after Teddy.
可唔可以?
Next, we'll look at the number for emergencies, 999.
999 is the number for the police, ambulance, or other emergencies.
So when I say, call the police, people will dial 999, right?
Yes, sometimes we may say 999, 三條九.
I see. We need to practice how to say it then. Listeners, please repeat after Teddy.
999,
999,
三條九.
999. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to make a passive sentence.
Yes, we just change the word order a bit and add the keyword 俾.
Okay, how do we do that?
For example, to say hit someone, you will say 打人. To change it to being hit by someone, you say 俾人打.
Can you repeat the phrases?
打人, 俾人打. Which one do you think is passive?
The second one.
That's right. We start with the optional subject, who is the recipient of the action, then 俾, then the doer of the action, followed by the action.
So what would being robbed by someone be?
俾人打劫.
And what about I was robbed?
我俾人打劫.
Sometimes we omit the word for someone in Cantonese as this is understood. Does it work in this case?
In the active form, sometimes we'll leave out the someone, say 打劫, instead of 打劫人. However, we usually put the subject in the passive form in colloquial Cantonese.
So we can't omit the subject someone.
Right. In most cases, for example, when we say being chased by someone, we say 俾人追. When being chased by a dog, it'd be 俾狗追.
Can you repeat those so we can see the difference?
Sure. 俾人追，俾狗追. So to conclude, the action duo is placed right after the keyword 俾.
That's right. Listeners, for more details and sample sentences, please check out the lesson notes.
Listeners, want to get the newest Cantonese lessons for free?
All new Cantonese Class 101.com lessons. They're free for 3 weeks.
And since we publish new lessons every single week,
You have 3 weeks worth of free lessons at any given time.
go to CantoneseClass101.com, click Browse Lessons, and then click Newest Lessons to get your free lessons today.
And that's it for this lesson. Thanks for listening.
Bye bye. 可唔可以幫我報警？
乜事啊？
我俾人打劫啊！
好，我打999啦。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 12. Describing someone in Cantonese. Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 12. Describing someone in Cantonese. I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to describe a face
This dialogue takes place at a police station,
between a police officer and a victim.
and this is in casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
個賊乜嘢樣？
對眼好細，個鼻好大，
個口呢？
好臭。
Now let's listen to the same conversation at a slower speed.
個賊乜嘢樣？
對眼好細，個鼻好大，
個口呢？
好臭。
Let's now listen to the conversation with the English translation.
個賊乜嘢樣？
What does the robber look like?
對眼好細，個鼻好大，
He has small eyes and a big nose.
個口呢？
How about the mouth?
好臭。
Very stinky. Have you ever gone to the police station?
Yes, 2 years ago when I went with my friend to report her lost passport.
Couldn't she just apply for a new one?
No, she was from Canada. She went to the Canadian embassy and was asked to file a loss report with the Hong Kong police first. She had to quote that case number when reapplying for a passport.
What if this is a Hong Kong passport or ID card?
Then you have to report to the immigration office and reapply for a replacement.
I see. How about reporting a lost driver's license? Where do you go first?
Oh, for a driving license, you just need to file a loss form and reapply at the transport department. Unless you suspect your lost item will be used in an illegal action, then you need to report to the police.
I see. I hope I never have to go to the police station for a loss report.
Yes, me neither. Okay, now let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson.
The first word we shall see is
樣
looks, face.
樣
Next,
眼
eye.
眼
Next,
耳
ear.
耳
Next,
口
mouth.
口
Next,
鼻
nose.
鼻鼻
Next,
臭
stinky, smelly.
臭臭
Next,
大
big.
大大
And last,
細
small.
細細
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
樣
What does this mean?
樣 means appearance or look. It usually refers to the face or facial features.
Right. In the dialogue, the police officer was asking what the robber looked like.
He asks, 乜嘢樣?
Meaning, what does he look like?
Right, let's break it down. 乜嘢is what and 樣 is the look. So together, 乜嘢樣 is what is the look or what does look like.
Teddy, can you repeat that?
樣 乜嘢樣?
Let's learn some words for facial features.
I want to introduce two words. They both mean mouth,
What are they?
嘴 and 口.
Is there any difference in their usage?
When we describe the mouth, we can use either one, like 個嘴好大 or 個口好大. However, 口 includes a sense of the hollow area that we can put something inside, whereas 嘴 often include the lips area as well.
So how do we say eat with the mouth?
We say 用口食, and for kiss with the lips, we say 用嘴錫.
How does it sound like when we say kiss with the mouth?
用口錫. It sounds like you are biting someone's face.
So when I praise someone that has beautiful lips, I don't say beautiful mouth, right?
Yes, you can say 個嘴好靚, but not 個口好靚, because we are talking about the shape of the lips too. 嘴.
Yet, when we complain about someone having bad breath,
Then we use 口 because the smell is from inside. 個口好臭.
okay, can you repeat the two mouths words for us? Listeners, repeat after Teddy.
口 嘴
And now let's move on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to use the classifiers for facial features and body parts.
Yes, we describe the face, mouth, eyes, ears, and nose with different classifiers.
Okay, what do you use for mouth?
Just like what we mentioned before, we use 個
Yes, I remember you mentioned the mouth was big.
個口好大.
What about for nose? Which classifier do you use?
It's the same, it's 個
So one mouth would be,
一個口
and one nose is.
一個鼻.
How about eyes and ears, which we have a pair of?
For pairs, we use the classifier 對
A pair of eyes is,
一對眼
and a pair of ears is.
一對耳仔.
What about other parts of our body, like hands and legs?
They are all using the same classifier 對. So, a pair of hands is 一對手 and pairs of legs is 一對腳.
What if I only want to say one hand?
Then we use the classifier 隻
Okay, one hand is,
一隻手
and one leg is.
一隻腳.
Is it the same for eyes and ears?
Yes, luckily, they are the same. 一隻眼 one eye, 一隻耳仔 one ear.
Excellent. So how about fingers?
It's also 隻. For example, 一隻手指 one finger, 兩隻手指 two fingers, 三隻手指 three fingers, and so on.
Great. So it's not too difficult, only 3 kinds of classifiers.
Yep, and you can find more examples in the lesson notes.
Want to master even more Cantonese? Get instant access to all of our lessons.
With a basic or premium subscription, you get our entire library of audio and video lessons.
Listen or watch at the comfort of your computer.
Or stream them directly from your phone or mobile device and learn on the go.
Lessons are organized by learning level, so you can go one level at a time.
Or skip around to different levels. It's up to you.
Instantly access them all right now at CantoneseClass101.com.
Thanks for listening. and we'll see you in the next lesson.
拜拜。
個賊乜嘢樣？
對眼好細，個鼻好大，
個口呢？
好臭。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 13. Don't Get Stepped On in Hong Kong. Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 13. Don't Get Stepped On in Hong Kong. I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to describe body parts.
This conversation takes place on a busy street in Hong Kong.
It's between Wendy and Jane.
And as usual, the speakers will be using casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
好逼啊！
有人踩到我隻腳趾，
有人踢到我腳踭，
我哋快啲走啦！
Let's hear the conversation one time slowly.
好逼啊！
有人踩到我隻腳趾，
有人踢到我腳踭，
我哋快啲走啦！
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
好逼啊！
It's so crowded.
有人踩到我隻腳趾，
Someone stepped on my toe.
有人踢到我腳踭，
Someone kicked my heel.
我哋快啲走啦！
Let's leave here quickly. Talking about body parts, I remember when I was young, I used to sing a song called Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes.
Oh yes, we learned the English version in kindergarten.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes, and eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Oh, we have a similar tune in Cantonese as well.
Really? I'll have to check it out sometime. Do kids learn this in kindergarten too?
Perhaps in preschool, for children who are 1 or 2 years old.
Interesting. Okay, now let's look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we shall see is
逼,
crowded.
逼, 逼,
Next,
踩,
to step on.
踩, 踩,
Next,
腳趾,
toe.
腳趾, 腳趾,
Next,
踢,
to kick.
踢, 踢,
Next,
腳,
foot.
腳, 腳,
Next,
腳踭,
heel.
腳踭, 腳踭,
Next,
膊頭,
shoulder.
膊頭, 膊頭,
And last,
快啲,
quicker, promptly.
快啲, 快啲.
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What should we start with?
Let's look at the terms for the different parts of the leg.
What can you tell us about this?
For both the foot and the leg, we say 腳.
So you don't distinguish between foot and leg in Cantonese?
We do, but 腳 is the general term for our legs and feet. Then when we need to identify the upper part of our leg, we say 大髀 for thigh, and for the lower part, 小腿 for calf.
How about toes and heels?
A toe is 腳趾 and your heel is 腳踭.
What about the ball of your foot?
腳掌.
So, do you have different plural and singular forms for these words? In English, we say foot and feet.
No, we use the classifier to tell whether there is one or more.
Okay, so one leg is
一隻腳，
my leg,
我隻腳，
my legs.
我對腳, meaning my legs as a pair.
Okay, can you repeat the words for different parts of the leg in the dialogue, please?
腳 means foot or leg. 腳趾 means toe. And 腳踭 means heel. So you add a word after 腳 to indicate the different parts of the leg. We have similar system for the arm as well.
Oh, yes. I remember that we have already learned the word for hand. Is there a difference in Cantonese between arms and hands?
Yes, hand is 手. Then when we talk about fingers, elbows, palms, and other parts of the arm, we add a word after 手. Here's a quick quiz for you. Hand is 手. So what do you think 手指 is?
Finger?
Right. Now, the ball of the foot is 腳掌. So what do you think 手掌 is?
The ball of our hand. You mean palm?
You guessed it.
Okay, let's review the vocabulary words for leg first. Can you repeat the words for legs, toes, and heels? Listeners, please repeat after Teddy.
腳
Legs,
腳趾
toes,
腳踭
heels. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to use action verbs associated with our feet.
In Cantonese, to kick is 踢 and to step on with force is 踩.
In most cases, we imply that someone is doing this action towards us.
Yes, we say 有人踢我 for someone kicked me and 有人踩我 for someone stepped on me.
I remember that we talked about passive sentences in lesson 11. How do we use these verbs in the passive voice?
We say 我俾人踢 and 我俾人踩.
In English, we leave out the someone by saying I was kicked or I was stepped on.
In Cantonese, we don't leave out the word someone. We'll say 俾人, as we have learned in lesson 11. For example, 俾人打 means being beaten by someone.
Can you repeat the phrase being kicked?
俾人踢
But how do you say someone kicked me?
有人踢我
How about someone stepped on me?
有人踩我
How about someone is stepping on my toes?
有人踩我啲腳趾
What else can you tell us about these action verbs?
踩 means to step on. In Cantonese, when we want to say riding on a bicycle, we say 踩單車, implying that our foot is stepping on the pedals of the bicycle.
So this is quite different from English, in which we use the verb to ride.
Right. Let's break it down. Bicycle is 單車, and to ride a bicycle is 踩單車, literally, to step on a bicycle.
Got it.
And there is one more common usage of the verb 踩, meaning to step on, which is to degrade or to belittle someone.
Really? Can you give us an example?
Let's use this expression. 佢踩我. There are two possible translations. One is he's stepping on me, or he's stepping on my foot. The second translation is he's degrading me, or he's belittling me.
Listeners, want to easily understand Cantonese conversations?
We'll let you in on a secret.
Use line-by-line audio.
With this tool, you can listen to lesson conversations line by line.
And you can listen again and again until you easily understand natural Cantonese.
With a click of a button, listen to each line of the conversation.
And rapidly understand natural Cantonese with this powerful tool.
Find this feature on the lesson page in the Lesson Materials section at CantoneseClass101.com.
Well, that's all for this lesson. Listeners, for more examples, please check out the lesson notes. And we'll see you in the next lesson.
Bye bye. 好逼啊！
有人踩到我隻腳趾，
有人踢到我腳踭，
我哋快啲走啦！
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese Lower Beginner, Season 1, Lesson 14. Searching for that lucky taxi in Hong Kong. Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 14. Searching for that lucky taxi in Hong Kong. I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to get a taxi.
This dialogue takes place on the street,
Between two friends, Jane and Wendy.
and this is in casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
邊度有的士？
嗰度有架空車，
你應該話吉車。
係？點解啊？
Let's hear the conversation one time slowly.
邊度有的士？
嗰度有架空車，
你應該話吉車。
係？點解啊？
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
邊度有的士？
Where can I find a taxi?
嗰度有架空車，
There's an empty one over there.
你應該話吉車。
You should say a lucky one.
係？點解啊？
Really? Why is that? Is it common for people to ride in taxis in Hong Kong?
Oh yes. Compared to other countries, taxi fares in Hong Kong are quite cheap.
What's the starting fare?
First, you need to pay 22 Hong Kong dollars for the first 2 kilometers.
What about after that?
It will be an additional 1.6 Hong Kong dollars for every 200 meters. However, if it is long haul, then after the meter reaches 78 Hong Kong dollars, the charge will be only $1 every 200 meters.
So how much does it usually cost to go downtown from the airport?
Let's say we want to go to TST or Tsim Sha Tsui, which is on the Kowloon Peninsula. It will cost about 250 Hong Kong dollars if the traffic is smooth. It will be 350 Hong Kong dollars if you go to Causeway Bay on Hong Kong Island, because there is an extra fee for the Cross Harbour Tunnel.
I see. I wonder if it is very cheap traveling in town since Hong Kong is such a small place.
It is. It costs around $50 to go from Central to Causeway Bay or from Mong Kok to Tsim Sha Tsui.
Is it easy to get a taxi?
There are usually a lot of taxis on the street and at taxi stands, but during rush hour, it can be very hard to get a taxi.
Why is that?
Many people do not drive in Hong Kong, so during rush hour, say between 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, when people are going to work, or after work between 6 and 7 o'clock in the evening, when people are going out to dinner or going home, it is extremely hard to get a taxi.
Oh, then I'll have to avoid traveling during those hours.
Right, not to mention the buses and MTR will be packed as well.
Okay, now let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we shall see is
邊度?
where.
邊度? 邊度?
Next,
的士?
taxi.
的士? 的士?
Next,
嗰度?
there.
嗰度? 嗰度?
Next,
空
empty.
空 空
Next,
車
car.
車車
Next,
應該
should.
應該應該
Next,
吉
lucky, auspicious.
吉吉
And last,
點解
why.
點解點解
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
邊度
I remember this is one of the interrogative words we talked about before.
Yes, 邊度 means where.
What does each character mean?
邊 means which in Cantonese, and do is spot, degree, or exact point when you measure something.
When you put the two words together,
邊度 means which exact point, so it means where.
that makes sense.
When we ask 邊度有, it means where would there be.
I see. So for where would there be a taxi?
We'll say 邊度有的士
How about where would there be a toilet? Or simply, where can I find a toilet?
邊度有廁所
Okay, then how do we answer the questions like that?
We use 嗰度 to say there or over there. So if we were to say there is a taxi over there, then we say 嗰度有的士
Can you repeat the question and the answer, please?
邊度有的士嗰度有的士
Where can I find a taxi? There is a taxi.
Excellent. And to say here, we use 呢度. For example, 邊度有廁所
Where can I find a toilet?
呢度有廁所
There's a toilet here. Teddy, please repeat the words for where, there, and here. Listeners, repeat after Teddy.
邊度
Where?
嗰度
There.
呢度
Here. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to say should or ought to.
Yes, when we try to correct someone, we say you should or you ought to. This phrase in Cantonese is 應該
Do you put this phrase in front of the verb as well?
Yes, 你應該食 means you should eat.
What about you should sleep?
你應該瞓 or 你應該瞓覺
For you should speak.
你應該講
In the dialogue, Jane says you should say,
Depending on the situation, it can be 你應該講 or 你應該話
How about you should not do something? Where do we put the not?
We'd say 唔應該 or should not.
So to say you should not eat, it'd be
你唔應該食
you should not sleep.
你唔應該瞓
You should not say.
你唔應該話
You should not say sorry.
你唔應該講對唔住
Okay, let's hear the set phrase should again. Listeners, repeat after Teddy.
應該
Should, ought to.
唔應該
Should not, ought not.
What's one of the best ways to stay motivated while learning Cantonese?
It's watching your progress grow and knowing how much you've learned.
Did you know that you could do that at CantoneseClass101.com? You can track your Cantonese progress with the dashboard.
So when you complete this lesson, mark it as finished.
You'll see the checkbox above the lesson player on the lesson page.
Click on the Mark Lesson Complete checkbox and watch your progress grow at CantoneseClass101.com.
And that's it for this lesson. Now we should say goodbye to our listeners. Thanks for listening, everyone.
應該講拜拜拜拜
邊度有的士？
嗰度有架空車
你應該話吉車。
係點解啊
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Cantonese, Lower Beginner Season 1, Lesson 15. How to Get Rich Quick in Hong Kong, Part 1. Hello, and welcome to the Lower Beginner series at CantoneseClass101.com. This is Season 1, Lesson 15. How to Get Rich Quick in Hong Kong. I'm Eric.
Hello, and I'm Teddy.
In this lesson, we'll talk about lucky numbers in Cantonese culture.
This conversation takes place at a jockey club betting branch in Hong Kong.
The conversation is between two friends, Jane and Wendy.
As usual, they are speaking in casual Cantonese.
Let's listen to the conversation.
一齊買6合彩啊！
好，我買8號、18號、28號，
咁多個8實發啦！
發達咯！
Let's hear the conversation one time slowly.
一齊買6合彩啊！
好，我買8號、18號、28號，
咁多個8實發啦！
發達咯！
Now let's hear it with the English translation.
一齊買6合彩啊！
Let's buy a lottery ticket together.
好，我買8號、18號、28號。
Okay, I'll bet on number 8, 18, and 28.
咁多個8實發啦！
With so many 8s, we should get rich.
發達咯！
We'll be wealthy. Can you buy a lot of different lottery tickets in Hong Kong?
No, unlike other countries, in Hong Kong, we only have one kind of lottery ticket. It's called a Mark 6.
Really? Why is there only one?
Well, the lottery is only offered by the Hong Kong Jockey Club.
I've heard of it. It's a horse racing organization too, right?
Yes, it is the biggest organization for charity as well. There are 2 horse races per week in Hong Kong, usually on Wednesdays and Sundays.
And how often does the lottery draw?
It's usually 2 to 3 times per week, normally on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, unless there are special celebrations. A certain percentage of the bets goes to charity and government taxes, and the government monitors the operation very closely.
I see. So how do you buy Mark 6 tickets?
There are many outlets around town, but I think most people use a phone account or online account to purchase their tickets. Among the 49 numbers, you need to pick at least 6. The draw is always broadcast on TV, and the show features the organization to which the money will be donated.
Sounds like you know it very well. You must be an expert in buying lottery tickets.
Maybe I am.
Okay, now let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we shall see is
一齊
together.
一齊一齊
Next,
買
to buy.
買買
Next,
6合彩
Mark 6.
6合彩6合彩
Next,
號碼
number.
號碼號碼
Next,
多
much, many.
多多
Next,
八
8.
八八
Next,
發
rich, to emit.
發發
And last,
發達
to be rich, developed, country.
發達發達
Let's take a closer look at some of the words and phrases from this lesson. What are we starting with?
6合彩
Mark 6. What does each character mean?
6 means 6, 合 means joined together. and 彩 means luck.
So altogether, their 6 joined together become luck?
Yes, very smart.
Can you repeat it, please?
六合彩，六合彩.
What's next?
The next words are 發 and 發達.
What can you tell us about these?
發 literally means to burst out or be swollen. However, in most casual situations, it means to get bigger and bigger or to get rich. The phrase 發達 further strengthens the meaning of getting very rich. That normally means reaching or arriving. So 發達 is reaching the stage that everything becomes very big, implying that there is wealth here.
I like that implication. Can you repeat the word for us again? Listeners, repeat after Teddy.
發發達.
Both mean getting rich.
Yes, 我想發達.
That means I want to get rich.
But keep in mind, there's another meaning of 發 when it's used in medical situations or in relation to humidity. When we use this word, 發, in referring to a wound or allergy, it means getting swollen or infected. That means it's not healing but getting worse.
And, due to the humid weather in Hong Kong, many things get moldy, right?
That's right. So we also hear complaints about things being moldy or 發霉.
So we have to listen very carefully to the context since the meaning is not always positive, right?
Right, but 發達 definitely means getting very rich.
I see. Okay, now on to the grammar.
It's grammar time.
In this lesson, you'll learn how to add adjectives to further describe an action.
That's right. When we invite others to do something with us, we say 一齊.
Can you please explain the meaning of the characters and how to use them?
一 is one, 齊 means neat or complete. Together, 一齊 implies doing something in unison. This is the adverb together to describe how an action is done.
In this dialogue, we said, buy lottery tickets together, in the first sentence.
Yes, 一齊買六合彩.
In English, together is put at the end of the sentence.
And in Cantonese, we put it before the verb.
So literally, it's together buy?
That's correct. We say 一齊買.
Is this the same for eating together or going to movies together? Do you say together eating and together watching a movie?
We do. 食飯 is having a meal. 一齊食飯 is eating together. Going to a movie is 睇戲. 一齊睇戲 means going to a movie together. 一齊 is placed in front of the verb.
So, this is quite straightforward and easy to spot.
Yes, and for not together, it's also straightforward. We say 唔一齊, putting not in front of together.
Can you please give us an example?
Sure, let's combine both together and not together in the sentence. 一齊食飯，唔一齊買六合彩.
We are eating together, but are not buying lottery tickets together.
Right, now, 一齊聽.
Listening together. Okay, listeners, let's listen together.
一齊聽.
How about learning Cantonese together?
一齊學廣東話. 一齊學廣東話.
Now, what else can we do together?
落堂之後一齊睇 lesson notes.
That's good. Reading the lesson notes together after class.
咁而家就講拜拜先啦，一齊講拜拜啦。
Listeners, do you know the powerful secret behind rapid progress?
Using the entire system.
Lesson notes are an important part of this system.
They include a transcript and translation of the conversation,
Key lesson vocabulary.
and detailed grammar explanations.
Lesson notes accompany every audio or video lesson.
Use them on the site or mobile device, or print them out.
Using the lesson notes with audio and video media will rapidly increase your learning speed.
Go to CantoneseClass101.com and download the lesson notes for this lesson right now.
Well, listeners, that's all we have for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.